Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for jumping out of the way when my niece and nephew tried to push me into a pool, resulting in them falling in? Happened today. My folks decided to host a barbecue because I guess that's what older people do. I declined because I really don't like my two sisters, their husbands, or their kids. Wife and I are child-free. Mom then pressured the wife. Long story short, we went. By the time we arrived, there were about 20 people there. My sisters and their husbands were already solidly buzzed. Drunk, really. My mom was spending 100% of her time trying to keep the nieces and nephews, ages 7 to 11, more or less under control. My dad had strategically retreated to the whirlpool part of the pool with small cooler full of beers. Wife and I made small talk with miscellaneous people, ate food, and had a frozen margarita. Sisters and brother-in-laws took turns criticizing us for being late, not being in our swimsuits, and screwing up the vibe. Whatever. Typical suburban summer get-together. About 45 minutes in, two of the kids ran at one of the neighbor guests who was standing next to the pool and pushed her in. She was at the pool steps, stumbled in but didn't fall, so only got half wet. She was clearly very unhappy about it, but she didn't make a scene, just went over to where the parents were, grabbed their towels, dried herself off and left. Sisters and brother-in-laws thought it was all great fun. A bit later, I was standing a few feet away from the pool chatting away with someone. I saw three of the kids running full tilt at me from the corner of my eye. Obviously, I was next. Not that it's terribly difficult to outwit young kids, but I just jumped out of their way at the last second. All three of them ran straight into the pool at full speed. Most of the other guests, including my wife and me, started laughing, but their moms, who as I mentioned were pretty crap-faced, absolutely freaked out. Apparently, two of the kids couldn't swim even though they were in swimsuits. Since I wasn't in swim gear, I stepped back from the pool and let other people fish the kids out. The kids were bawling their heads off like they'd lost a limb. At that point, all hell broke loose. The four drunk parents were yelling at everyone in general, and me in particular, for nearly letting their kids drown, and also because two of the kids had been videoing the trick using their parents' iPhones, which were now at the bottom of the pool. One of my brother-in-laws got into the pool to try to retrieve the phones, but his BMI and BAC made that impossible. No one else volunteered to help, unsurprising given that my sisters were still complaining at everyone. I told my sisters it was their job to watch their kids, and that if anything had happened to them, it would have been their responsibility, not mine. There were some pretty strong words on both sides. Wife and I left after the other brother-in-law fell over and face-planted while yelling at us. Now they're saying I should have let the little craps knock me into the pool and have their fun and ruin my phone. So, am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for pre-gaming my wife's dinners? My wife and I are both 32. Since we got married and moved in together 5 months ago, my wife has simply not made nearly enough food for me. This is not a kind of situation where I'm constantly agitated at her for incompetence or anything like that. I would be more than happy to microwave a burrito. I would be more than happy to whip up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I can't. My wife has, every single night of our marriage, done the same thing. She'll make me a tiny dinner. I'm talking like a Chinese chicken salad with 30 grams of chicken and 10 leaves of lettuce arranged fashionably with dressing. When I finish eating, I'm still hungry because for a 230-pound man who works a physical labor job, it's not enough food. At first, I tried to openly communicate with her, but she always took it horribly. She would adopt a 1,000-yard stare, and then begin talking about how incompetent she is and how she can't even make her husband a proper dinner. I try to calm her down with, "Oh honey, that's not the case. I just eat too much, or don't worry about it. I can make a bit more." I'd try to be overwhelmingly positive. It never helped. She would always just get incredibly disappointed in herself, cry, and take it out on me. Then she would make the same exact amount the following day. After the communication route failed, I tried to eat her dinners as is. It became hard to sleep at night due to hunger, and I lost 7 pounds in the first month. Eventually, I figured out my own system. On my way home from work, I started swinging by a fast food restaurant and getting myself a burger. I would basically pre-game her meals with some more calories. I figured it was win-win, as what she doesn't know can't hurt her, and I could have my fill of food. I would eat on my way home, walk in the door, pick at the salad or quinoa or homemade mac and cheese she made, compliment her for her delicious cooking, and later dispose of the wrappers discreetly. 2 days ago, I was on my way home and in line at a drive-thru. My mother-in-law was coming out of the restaurant. She ran over and greeted me. I asked her in a humorous way not to tell her daughter where she saw me because she'd take it badly, and she agreed, but then she narked on me anyway. I got home to a furious wife who demanded details. When I provided the truth, she got extremely angry and looked legitimately hurt. I'm not good at handling confrontation and feel like I betrayed my wife in some way. Was I wrong here? Next story. Am I the a-hole for using my hearing aids to make someone look stupid? I, 18 female, have moderate hearing loss. I lost hearing over the years with many ear-related incidents. I wear hearing aids to hear people talk sometimes, but I mainly use them at school. When I start a school year, I tell the teacher that I wear hearing aids and they normally put me next to their desks so I can hear them without the use of my hearing aids. In one of my classes, I have a girl, Lily. Lily likes to yell at people to get them to come to her instead of getting up to talk to them. No matter who tells her to stop, she won't. The teacher stopped trying to get her to stop a long time ago. In this class, we have to take notes. Lily missed notes day and the teacher told her to find someone with notes. No one near her wanted to give he the notes, so she chose me. I was on the opposite side of the room and she began yelling at me. She has done this all year and it was annoying. I didn't look at her. I just kept working on other schoolwork. I wasn't going to give her special treatment because she was lazy. She had no mobility issues. She just doesn't want to walk to other people. She kept getting louder and more frustrated that I wasn't going to her. She yelled at me for 10 minutes before she stood up and walked over to me. She was very mad at me and kept saying that it was stupid that I didn't go to her and that she shouldn't have to stand up. She very loudly asked, "What, are you deaf?" The entire class was watching us. I have no idea where the teacher was. I slowly turned to her before taking out the case that has my hearing aids in it and made a show of putting them in. I then very loudly asked her what. She got very red in the face and then turned around and walked back to her seat. No one in that class knew I wore hearing aids because my hair covers them. My sister said it was mean of me to do that to her because she didn't know and I wasn't wearing my hearing aids and I could hear her because she was very loud. So, am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying my body is not just a result of having had no children? I, 26 female, went to the pool with some female colleagues from work today. We know each other pretty well, but only ever see each other in scrubs at the hospital. Most of my colleagues are a few years older than I am and some have kids. We were all wearing bikinis and having a nice time so far. Then out of the blue, one colleague complimented me on my body. It was a genuine nice compliment and I blushed and said thank you. I am pretty fit, I have a dog, I walk daily and I am a dancer and used to dance 7 days a week. Ever since I've been working I dance less though. While my body doesn't look as nice as it used to back then, I still am lean and I suppose pretty muscular, especially the legs. After the compliment, another colleague with kids said that of course I have a nice body, I don't have kids. Some others then chimed in and said how easy it all was before kids and how easy I have it and my body is nothing special. I didn't say anything because I am pretty uncomfortable with body talk in general. But at some point it became a bit much and I said that I don't think my body is just from not having had kids, but that I also work out a lot. I also said not having had kids doesn't equal a good body and having had kids doesn't equal a bad body. The colleagues then exploded on me and said how I belittle parenthood and downplay pregnancy and I should just wait until I have kids and those legs are gonna disappear quickly. I said nothing to that and the rest of the outing passed rather awkwardly. Am I the a-hole for saying what I said? Next story. Am I the a-hole for canceling vacation less than 24 hours in due to my kids' behavior? My husband and I have 3 kids, 9 male, 8 male, and 3 female. The boys have been driving us crazy. They fight like cats and dogs. We've had countless talks with them about respecting each other, to no avail. I understand sibling rivalry, but it's gotten to the point it's disruptive to us all, every day. I already told my husband last week I wasn't sure if the vacation was a good idea. My husband shut me down pretty much immediately and things went ahead as planned. First of all, the 3.5-hour car ride was, predictably, hell. boys fighting and riling each other up the whole time. Husband and I kept trying to reassure each other that things would be better once we got there and they would be too excited to cause trouble. We were wrong. They had so many reminders of what not to do once we got to the rental house, so they do everything wrong from the get-go. Shoes on the white furniture? Check. Running in the house? Check. I turned my back for 2 seconds and the 8-year-old threw a box of chalk in the pool to keep his brother from getting it. We went out to lunch and they were out of control in the restaurant. 9 male ran away from us in a strange place because he didn't get his way. We finally go to the beach and they are frankly being brats. Refusing sunscreen. Fighting over toys. Pushing their luck repeatedly, going farther and farther out in the water than we told them to. Cursing. By the time we got back to the house, it was around dinner time and I was fed up. They were totally ruining it for everybody. Nothing had worked and I told my husband we needed to go home, for the reasons mentioned above, mainly that they needed to see a real consequence. My husband still insisted it would get better. I put my foot down and told him that I didn't even want to be there at that point, so either I was leaving or we all were. He got super pissed and told me it was ridiculous and unfair to our daughter. I actually agree with him but saw no other choice at this point. Of course, when I tell the kids, they immediately burst into tears and are begging to stay, promising they will behave. My mother, who came with us, was also near tears. She thinks her precious grandbabies do no wrong. She argued with me too, begging me to just let it go, but I refused to budge. So, we left, less than 24 hours into a 4-day vacation. Half the ride home was spent with them sobbing, and my husband pretty much gave me the silent treatment the whole way. My mother decided to stay behind a little longer but then started randomly texting me about 30 minutes in, asking if I was serious. She knew I was, and told me the whole reason she came was to spend time with the kids, so I had now ruined it for everybody and their only little ones. Here we are the following evening and pretty much no one likes me right now except my 3-year-old. Are they right? Am I the a-hole? I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.